Welcome back in. So glad you are with us on Colatown, our city, our stories. I'm Kev. We're together till 10 o'clock. I'm so appreciative of Peter Brown, our councilman, for coming in to lead off the story with us the first half of the program, now our second half of the program. And I get to talk about something. I said to my wife, we were at dinner last night, I said, yeah, we're going to talk about Columbia Jazz Fest, which is good. She goes, you got Mark Rapp on? And I'm like, how did you? She's like, you can't talk about music and jazz in Columbia without talking about Mark Rapp. And so I thought you were going to come in. You and I have not met. And I thought you were going to come in here, an old grizzled dude, because she's like, oh, he's like the godfather.
I feel it on the inside.
He's the godfather of Columbia jazz.
Oh,
and
nice.
So she is a big fan of yours. And so after we do this program, I know I'll be a big fan also. Good morning.
Oh, good morning. What a heck of an introduction, man.
I'm
I appreciate
so happy you're here.
It's exciting to be here. I appreciate you, man.
Appreciate it.
You just lifted me up. It's a Monday. I was feeling it, man. But so thank you for those words.
Hey, listen. I'm so excited that you're here because we spend a lot of time on this program. And I try to look at this program as how can I be an ambassador for the city of Columbia? Because I love it. I mean, I love Columbia. This is my home. It's where I raise my babies. This is where I'm going to retire one day and live out my life. This is where I want to be. Yeah. And I love it here. And I think we are so underrated when it comes to the arts, when it comes to the museums, when it comes to culture, when it comes to music. Yeah. And we've had our highs and lows. We've had our lulls. And I think with the arrival of Finley Park, I think we have an opportunity to make the comeback of comebacks. And you're going to take advantage of that with the Jazz Fest. So first of all, before we get into the Jazz Fest, I want to learn a little bit more about Mark.
Cool.
Tell me about you and your passion for this and how you got involved and your story. I want to hear your story a little bit.
Yeah, right on. I'll try to do it in a nutshell, but I grew up in South Carolina. I'm a Carolina boy, so I open car doors for ladies and give up my seat and whatnot. I was raised right by my mama. Yeah, man, I discovered jazz late. It was after high school. Discovered Miles Davis, John Coltrane, Louis Armstrong. The whole pantheon.
Pretty good trifecta right there.
Yeah, totally, absolutely. So I moved to New Orleans, man. Did my master's under the great Ellis Marcellus. Had an amazing time in New Orleans. Making records, playing the festivals, touring. Moved up to New York. I worked very, 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 very hard. I'm a stubborn mule, man. I'm persistent. It might knock me down, but dang it, I'm getting back up.
Amen. Sure.
So New York, had a bit of heyday, management, records, played Newport Jazz Festival, Blue Note, so on and so forth. Moved to Europe, had a great experience over there. Came back to Columbia, South Carolina, and found there's like this hidden, amazing jazz scene going on. So I started doing things to highlight the scene. Now, I have a history in web development, so I put together a jazz calendar, I have a history in, being in the studios and whatnot. So we put together compilation CDs to highlight all these great musicians around town. And the tour, Experience Columbia picked up on it. And we just started doing community-facing things, putting a weekly gig together where it wasn't just one guy the whole week or the whole all the time. I was featuring different band leaders every different week and just stirring the pot. But when you stir the pot, trying to do it in a positive way, as all of us experience, when you're pushing the status quo, sometimes you get a lot of pushback.
Absolutely.
Even though you're trying to do good.
Right.
So you just have to overcome that. You got to believe in yourself, believe in your vision. One of the quotes that I'm constantly empowered and reminded by is from Eleanor Roosevelt, and she goes, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You got to do what you believe is right in your heart, right? And then the other one that keeps me going through the ups and downs, like you mentioned, the ups and downs of culture in Columbia is from the armed forces, man, or Navy SEALs. I think they use this as well, but they say, the difficult we'll do immediately, the impossible. It's just going to take a little bit longer.
I love it.
Yeah, man. That drives me.
It should. I get that, and I appreciate that drive because we need that passion. Mm-hmm. This is something you can't do music first of all without passion. Anyway, you can't. You can't.
Yeah.
If it's not in your heart, if it's not passionate, something that it's going to show. People see that very quickly if it's not for real. I remember when we used to spend going out to hunter gatherer and seeing all the different musicians come up and take turns and come up on the stage and all that, and I always thought to myself, this is like a sleeping giant. Mm-hmm. I always thought Columbia music scene was like a sleeping giant. Now, I've been here since 1994, so I haven't been here as long as some people, but I'm coming up on 32 years in August that I've been here, and I love it here. I absolutely love it, Mark. And I've always felt that term sleeping giant. Don't get me wrong. We've had our heyday and we've had, a lot of bands that are now big national names that have come through, and Columbia was a regular stop on their way. But I feel like the jazz specifically is something that I don't know if people realize. One of the things I've lamented is, there's never really been like a jazz radio station in town. And I often thought about, if I had the resources, this is my talk station, but I wish I could start like a jazz radio station. Now it's not as bad because there's so much other select, with all the streaming and all the things you can do. Now you can go and find what you want if you find it on your phone pretty easily. But when I was first starting out, I thought, we need a jazz station in Columbia, all that stuff. But anyway, the point is, we got this Jazz Fest coming.
Yes.
And tell me how this came about and what it's going to be like.
Well, I had a couple of goals. One was to have a world-class summer jazz camp, a world-class jazz festival, concert programming, outreach in the schools, so on and so forth. And so we started, the first festival was in 2018, and that was at, I think it was still called the Music Forum, and then it became the Senate.
Right.
Or maybe it just became the Senate. And at any rate, we did it there. We had great Chris Potter, who came out of Dreer High School, came out of Columbia. Super famous jazz musician. Look up Chris Potter. You'll immediately see. But and it's just growing organically. Now, COVID hit, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, man, I don't stop for anything.
Right.
We immediately shifted all virtual. We did a virtual jazz camp. We did a virtual jazz festival, and we just kept on crushing it. I've never worked more in my life during.
Sure.
Yeah, it was incredible. So we kept going, and then I had a goal to bring it back out to Main Street because the history of Main Street Jazz Fest. So we did that for a couple of years. This past year, we had bad weather. Thank goodness for Koger Center. They opened their doors for us. It was like a threading a needle. It was a Saturday.
Yeah.
The one day of the year that Koger
wasn't booked.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they said, "Come on."
Yeah.
So we kept on. We were able to continue with the festival.
Shout out to Koger and Nate.
Yeah, man. Go Nate Teratio. He's a
guy.
bad man.
Yeah.
So now, and in the meantime, Finley Park's getting developed.
Right.
And then so timing was right, and Finley Park is amazing. I bring my girls out there all the time.
Yeah.
And, great a wonderful place to have live music. We've already been doing some concerts out there, and as you know, Finley Fridays are up and running. And people are learning how easy it is to get to the park, because that's a learning curve, right? I spent time in New York, so walking 5 or 6 blocks is like, oh, that's short, that's great.
Right.
You park 10 blocks away to...
Right.
That's nothing,
yeah.
right? So people having to park 1 or 2 blocks away in a garage is a bit of a learning curve. But now folks are realizing, that's an easy walk.
It's
that's
not a hard walk.
And the parking's
it's
cool.
not.
It's easy to get out
Exactly.
when you're ready to go.
Yeah.
So it's incredible. I'm excited.
So the actual event is coming up, and we're going to focus more on that in the second half. But what does it take to put together an event like this? I mean, obviously it takes perseverance and determination, but I mean, like, logistically speaking, how do you make an event like this happen?
Yeah, man, it takes everything in you, man. There's so many line items to check off. You got to have a great team, from advertising, marketing, to logistics, to insurance policies, to, everything from, like, you have to plan and have someone dealing with the cooler on the stage for musicians and making sure that's taken care of, right?
Yeah.
From that to the porta potties,
right colors of
signage.
M&Ms.
I mean, it's like
the divas, if you would, of a lot of the artists can be on the diva side. Yeah, I get that.
You got to deal with the production side of it, the sound, the lighting. Man, making sure sponsors are happy.
Here's the other thing, I mean, you've got your weekend here, and this is a weekend, with the 15th and 16th and all, but that's a good weekend for a lot of people all over the country right now because the weather is getting to that point. Yeah. So you also had to find something where you could still find the acts that were available to come here versus going to another festival, because there's festivals going on in different parts of the country this time of year, and it's a great time to be outside and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, then you get into all the promoters, and you get into finding the right bands and the right musicians and this and that. So, I mean, it's got to take a year to plan a year out.
Oh, I wish I had a whole year just to focus on this. We do so much, man. Like, we're constantly out in the schools doing so many,
I guess it helps that you've obviously, it's not your first rodeo.
It's not the first rodeo, and thanks to like incredible support from the city, from the county, from sponsors, I was able to hire in a festival director to really help with this, because this is big this year.
Oh yeah,
it is big. And honestly, I feel a lot. A lot of pressure, man. It's freaking me out. But we have an incredible lineup.
Right.
So that's the other thing you got to deal with, the flights and hotels and transportation for the artists.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're coming in at different times.
Absolutely.
Their sets are different times.
Absolutely.
You got to make sure you got runners and rental cars.
Right.
But at any rate.
That was the goal. I mean, like I said, I want to, we'll get to a break in about a minute, and then I want to focus on the lineup in the second half. But that's what I wanted to explain to the Colatown listeners here at the Point, Mark, is I wanted people to understand this doesn't just happen. There's so much logistics involved to make something like this happen and to get everybody on the same page. Yeah. And then there's just the fact of, hey, by the way, can everybody please check their egos at the door? Yeah. Because there's people who are territorial when it comes to stuff like this. I know you've seen this when it comes to venues, when it comes to bureaucracy, all that. Yep. There's people that are very territorial. So you put it all together, and it really does take a lot of cooperation. I'm glad, obviously, you got the city behind you, because that's the big onus. But it takes a lot of cooperation to make magic.
Yeah, it does. The deeper I get into leadership roles and responsibilities, the more I have to become, a bit of a psychologist. You got to deal with so many different personalities, and myself, I need to check my own ego, because people come at me and you got to pause, and although it might hit you wrong, you stop and say, okay, what is he really trying to say? What is she really come? Why is she coming? And then get to the issue at hand and leave the emotion out of it. It's hard, man. It's hard.
I don't doubt it for a minute.
But I keep reading leadership books. I keep reading business books. I keep trying, man. I don't always get it right, but I keep trying.
But you know what? You're not complacent. You keep wanting to get better, and that's a big part of leadership in and of itself. Mark Rapp is joining us. We're going to do our timeout. We'll come on back, and we're going to talk about the lineup and everything specific for the Columbia Jazz Fest, which is going to take place at beautiful, or as everybody seems to be using the word, amazing Finley Park. And we have all found that to be the case. Quick break. Coming back with more. I want you to stick around and have some fun with us as we continue Colatown on the Point, our city, our story. Stick around. Welcome back in on Colatown, our city, our stories. I'm Kevin. We are together till 10, and sitting across from me here in our studio, Mark Rapp. And we are talking all about the upcoming Columbia Jazz Fest over at Finley Park. We're pretty geeked about this, getting here and finally arriving, and excited about it. Mark, thank you for coming on and hanging out with me here.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. This is fun.
Yeah, well, I hope we're having a good time. I know we're going to have a good time when the event arrives finally, May 15th, May 16th, Friday and Saturday night over at Finley Park. It's going to be here before you know it, obviously. Whether we like it or not. A lot of deadlines, a lot of logistics. I know you guys got a lot of I's to dot and a lot of T's to cross, but you'll make it happen. The lineup is set, and it's going to be awesome. Tell us a little bit about who's coming, and give us a little kind of like bio on each of the artists.
Yeah, certainly. So the very first year we opened up the festival with the Soda City Brass Band, and I felt like this new iteration of the fest, we've rebranded, renamed as the Cola Jazz and Roots Fest. Just the naming allows us to expand deeper into jazz and its influences, the roots of jazz, and then how jazz is the roots of so many different types of music out there.
I like the logo, too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we're going to kick it off with Soda City Brass Band, some New Orleans music, and open it up that way. And then right after that is a piano cat out of North Florida named Martin Bejarano. And he's got this amazing project called the Purple Project. So he does jazz versions of Prince, the music of Prince.
Okay.
So that's going to be a really fun, like, sort of official, first band. The Soda City Brass Band, we're local, we're going to kick it on, but then, that's our first out-of-town artist coming in.
Sure.
And then one band I'm super excited about, because they don't perform here often enough, and that's a band called Sire. Sire's a Celtic rock band.
Yes, they are.
They are phenomenal, high energy, tight. Super exciting, an incredible festival band. I'm so excited for that to be like the headliner of our Friday night. And for people who are questioning my choice of bringing in a Celtic rock band to a jazz fest, let me tell you that the Irish fiddle tradition, that 6/8 feel, is direct influence on the beginnings of jazz. The West African 6/8, the Irish jigs, all that stuff is proven, historically sound influences on the creation of jazz music. So for any naysayers, y'all be quiet. And then on Saturday, we're going to open up with Brittany Turnipseed. She's kicking off Saturday. Brittany Turnipseed, she's amateur hour at the Apollo Theater winner. Unbelievable voice. Oh, my God. I'm fortunate I get to play with her every now and then, and Brittany is just incredible. And then Willie Bradley's coming up next, smooth jazz trumpeter. He's local to South Carolina. Again, he doesn't get to play in Columbia that often, so we're very excited to feature Willie Bradley. And after them is a really fun band called Folder Roll. They're actually based out of Hilton Head. Folder Roll is kind of like a postmodern jukebox, so they jazz takes and all these pop tunes. And they even throw in some like hip hop and rap in there, but all like jazzified. It's a super fun, entertaining band. And then our opener for the headliner is a gorgeous vocalist, Lucia. Lucia, coming from the bossa nova, the Latin traditions. She's out of New York. She's like the next big thing. She's already popping. I'm so glad I contracted her before she's gotten so much weight behind her, because it would have been twice the cost. Thank you, Lucia, for coming down. And then our big headliners, India Owens and the Cookout. India Owens is a bass player on Stephen Colbert's show. He is so dynamic, man, just incredible. And her band, The Cookout, horns a-blazing, just phenomenal band. It is so fun, soulful, coming out of like the gospel jazz tradition. And India Owens is up there bouncing. I mean, if you check out one of her videos, like you're just going, oh my God. She's incredible. So India Owens is our big headliner. So a lot of diverse music offerings, incredible artists, supporting local, supporting regional, supporting international. So yeah, we're psyched.
Yeah, you should be. First of all, congratulations on putting together a lineup. That in and of itself, I don't know if people realize how hard that is to bring together this kind of talent for a festival. That's what makes it a festival instead of just a concert.
Yes.
You got basically of all kinds of music, all of them with ties to jazz, but all of them coming at it from different angles.
Yes.
And so there's a little something for everybody.
Yes.
Which I think that's important, Mark, when it comes to what you're trying to do, because if we're going to do something that's going to be getting the city behind it, there's got to be something for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Well, the one thing I love about jazz and jazz festivals is that it brings out every possible demographic you could think of. You know, if it's a country festival, you know the demographic you're getting. If it's a hip-hop rap festival, you kind of know the demographic you're going to get predominantly. I know. You get what I mean. A jazz festival brings out those people who go to country, to the rock, to the hip-hop.
Right.
It is such a bizarre, beautiful mix of diversity.
Melting pot of everybody.
Yeah, man. I mean, and that's what life.
That's what music is. That's
what music is.
You know, I often say this about music because I think about it, and I guarantee you, everyone listening can understand what I'm about to say. I don't care what your politics are. You might love this, you might love that, you might hate this, you might hate that, but everybody can find common ground with music.
Oh man, when
everybody can find it.
When I look out in the audience when we're doing these jazz shows, especially out at Finley Park, and I see white people, black people, gay people, male, female, young, old. I don't know what their politics are, but in South Carolina, I'm assuming that it's pretty diverse out there in the audience. But everybody is hanging out together.
Yeah,
everyone's breaking bread together, eating from the food trucks, and having some drinks. We're all getting along.
Yeah.
Imagine, it's so cool. We could have differences of opinion,
sure,
but we could also be cool and soulful about it.
Absolutely,
and that's what jazz teaches us.
Yeah, I love that. Now you mentioned that you've had the opportunity to play with some of these folks and things like that. What instruments do you play?
I play trumpet. Trumpet's my main instrument. I use piano to compose on, but trumpet. I also play didgeridoo, which is fun. But yeah. So,
how are you? Did you just start off like a kid playing trumpet, or when did you start?
Yes and no. I started in sixth grade, kind of quit. Then seventh grade, kind of quit. Came back in eighth grade. I played through high school. You know, I loved football and basketball, but I was too little. You know, when I got to high school, I went to the high school football team. I was trying out, and the coach was like, I hear you play trumpet. I said, yeah. He goes, well, you might want to stick to that.
We can get you on the field, but it's only going to be at halftime.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's not going to be during the game, just at halftime playing in the band.
Yeah, he kind of pointed out, he goes, look around. These are the guys that are going to be hitting you. And I looked around, man, these dudes are big.
Yeah.
I said, oh, I'll go back to the band.
That's fine. That's fine. I wondered because just because you can put something together and you love the music doesn't mean you can play the music, but you can, and that probably gives you an even more of a bond and a connection to these artists, because you know what it's like to struggle, you know what it's like to build a following and all that kind of stuff. And these artists, to get to a point where they're playing festivals, they have been through hell and back in order to get this opportunity to get up before thousands of people at a festival. And it's I mean, the reward is amazing, but the journey's incredible.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's you find out that there is never a finish line. It is truly a journey. Like what we're doing right now, that this is what life is right now. There's no past, there's no future. This is it. So it teaches you to keep trying to make things better, to be a better musician. And like you said from the very beginning, it's a passion.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't do it if we weren't passionate about it.
Now I got to tell people, got to say it, Mark. This 2-day festival, how much is it going to cost people to come over?
Man, it's really expensive. It's going to cost $0.
What? The festival is free?
Completely free and open to the public. Yeah.
Listen, I want people to realize something, because you can't just gloss over that. You can't bring all these artists in, and there's all the logistics you and I talked about in the first part, all the travel, all the hotels, all the transportation, obviously paying them for the gig, all that kind of stuff. This is not something that is free. So this takes money. This takes commitment by the city. And I think that's, again, this is free. This is for families to come out and just park and enjoy and free.
Yeah, I mean, I got to point out, I mean, this is like $150,000 production and more.
Right.
Right. And honestly, that is working on a shoestring there. It's
sure.
To get to where we're going to get is, it's going to take a bit more, a lot more. But thankfully, folks like Palmetto Citizens is our presenting sponsor.
Sure.
They stepped up. They see value in our community. They see
sure.
value in what we're trying to do. Same with the city of Columbia. They see value in our communities. They see value in what we're trying to bring and make the capital city better, more interesting, all that kind of stuff. So their support allows us to make this free. I mean, that's expensive,
yes,
man.
It is. It
$150,000?
really is.
Yeah. Are you kidding me? It is but the benefits from doing this
sure.
is exponential.
Absolutely.
And as the years go by, it's just going to make our city pop and grow.
Yeah.
It's going to make everyone's lives a little bit better, helping people thrive. It's just upward trajectory.
Again, people need to understand this is a quality of life moment. This is an opportunity for people to come out, do something. Again, it's family friendly. This is something that you can bring kids to and grandparents to all at once. And this is something everybody can enjoy. And of course, the park is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. We love Findlay, so it's a great venue for the event in and of itself. Congratulations. If people want to learn more about the event and just know more about the jazz scene, how do they find out?
Yeah, man. ColaJazzFest.com. 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 I can keep going.
No, I love it, man. I'm telling you. Thank you for coming on in, Mark. You crushed it,
you.
and really, really love what you've done. I appreciate what you've done and are doing for adding quality of life in jazz, not just jazz, but music and the arts. Thank you for what you're doing here in our community. Appreciate you very much. Mark Rapp joining us. That's Colatown for this week. Thanks, everyone, for listening in. Have a great, great rest of your day. Thanks for listening to The Point.